So students, continuing from the spermatogenesis, now we are moving on to the second part of the gametogenesis. The second part of gametogenesis is called as oogenesis. What is the meaning of oogenesis? Oo means egg, ovum, genesis formation. So oogenesis is the process of formation of the egg cells. Where it is being completed, the process of egg formation or oogenesis is going to complete there on the germinal epithelium of the ovary only. So oogenesis is the process of formation of egg cell in the females, and where it is going to complete, that is going to complete there in the ovary only. Initially we are just discussing the simple steps of the oogenesis, and the oogenesis is almost similar to the spermatogenesis. Why this is similar to the spermatogenesis? And it will have some of the differences also. So just we are just going to discuss the differences as well as the similarity thereon. So here in case of the oogenesis also, the oogenesis is going to complete therein three steps, that is called as multiplication phase, growth phase and the maturation phase. So these three steps are common for both spermatogenesis and oogenesis. The spermatogenesis was also having the multiplication phase, growth phase and the maturation phase, and oogenesis is also having all these phases. But remember, in case of spermatogenesis, the spermiogenesis was also one of the event where spermatid has to convert in form of the sperm. Here there is no such process observed. The complete three step process is there: the multiplication phase and the growth phase and the maturation phase. So one by one we are just going to see. Here also similar to the previous one, the multiplication phase is the phase where complete mitotic division occurs in the primordial germ cell of the ovary. What happens during the multiplication phase? The complete mitotic division phase is there. In the mitotic division, what happens? The primordial germ cell of the ovary undergoes in the repeated series of mitotic division and is going to form the new cells, and a great number of the new cells are being formed. That new cells are called as oogonia. You know very well. In the spermatogenesis, the cells are called as spermatogonia, and here in case of oogenesis, the cells are called as oogonia. Now moving on to the growth phase. When we are moving on to the growth phase, so as similar to the previous one, the enlargement in the size will occur. There will be no division involved there in the process of oogenesis. So here what will happen in the growth phase? The enlargement in the size will occur of the oogonia. So any one of the oogonia enlarges in the size and will convert in form of the primary oocyte. Their primary spermatocyte. Here in case of oogenesis, primary oocyte will be produced. But one very important difference is there: the growth phase is comparatively longer in the oogenesis in comparison to the spermatogenesis. In spermatogenesis it was a quite short phase, but in case of oogenesis the phase is quite longer in the time period. Why this is so? And one more difference is there. Remember, first one, the longer phase is going to occur there in the oogenesis. And remember, whatever the terrestrial animals, whatever the oviparous animals are there, whatever the animals, those who are going to lay their egg outside of the body and the egg is going to develop outside of the body in form of the adult one, they are having the longest growth phase in them. Why this is so? Because the growth phase is longest, our growth phase is longer due to the accumulation of the material. And there in case of spermatogenesis, we have seen the accumulation of the cytoplasmic and nuclear material occur, and here in case of oogenesis the two materials will be same. Means what? Cytoplasm will accumulate, nucleus will accumulate, along with that the fat cells and the yolk will also get accumulate there inside. Remember, what is going to accumulate inside, what is going to store inside? That is yolk cell. So what is the difference there? First one, the longest phase. Second one, that along with the cytoplasm and nuclear material, another material is going to be stored there, that is called as the yolk. Yolk is very important material there in the egg, because yolk is going to provide the energy for the further embryonic development, whether it is oviparous or the viviparous. And the formation or synthesis of yolk is called as vitalogenesis. So due to the yolk synthesis, the process is very important. The process is getting lengthier, and majority of the part of the egg is being considered consist of cytoplasm and the yolk. So what happens? So due to the accumulation of the yolk, cytoplasm and the nuclear material, the cell is going to enlarge, and now the enlarged cell is called as primary oocyte. Finally what happened? This primary oocyte, as similar to the Spermatogenesis will enter in the process of maturation division or maturation phase. What happened? The longest phase in the human, the maturation phase is the longest phase in the human. Why this is longest phase in the human, we'll understand in the separate topic here just today only. It is longest phase in the human because it runs, the process begins before the childbirth and runs till the complete reproductive life of the female. The process begins before the childbirth and runs till the complete reproductive life of the female. We'll understand how this occurs. And second thing, there in case of spermatogenesis, what happened? The primary spermatocyte undergoes in the meiotic division first and meiotic division second. And remember, the cells those who are produced from the meiotic division are equal in size and shape. But here in case of oogenesis, the meiotic division is an unequal division. Unequal division means to say, the cell those who are resulting from the meiotic division will one of the cell will have larger in size, another one will have smaller in size. Some cells are larger in size and some cells are smaller in size. Why this is so? Because the division of materials get unequal during the cell division. So why this is so, just understand, just try to understand. So first of all, this is clear to you all. During the maturation phase, the meiotic division when occurs. So during the meiotic division, the cells are getting divided unequally. Why? How unequally? So during the unequal division, one cell will form larger and one will form smaller. The first meiotic division in the primary oocyte will give rise one larger cell, one smaller cell. The larger cell is called as secondary oocyte and the smaller cell is called as the first polar body. First one, the first polar body, and the larger one is called as the secondary oocyte. Why this is so? Why they are smaller and the larger in size? Because during the distribution of the material at the time of cell division, the cells which receives maximum part of cytoplasm and the yolk is getting larger in the size or appears in the larger in size, and while the cell which receives minimal part or almost none of the yolk and cytoplasm remains in the small size. Are you getting my point? So what happens? The division of yolk and cytoplasm is divided equally. A division of the yolk and cytoplasm is unequal, while the nuclear material divides equally. So remember always the question therein, कि what is unequally divided and what is going to divide equally. So nuclear material is going to divide equally. That is why the two different cells are being formed, while the yolk and cytoplasmic materials are going to divide unequally. One cell will have maximum or almost all the cytoplasm and yolk, another one will have almost none of the cytoplasm and yolk. So which cell have maximum cytoplasm and yolk is called as secondary oocyte and one is called as first polar body. Now the same time, the second meiotic division will occur in both the cells, means what? The secondary oocyte and the first polar body. Once again, in the secondary oocyte, unequal meiotic division occur. Due to the unequal meiotic division, once again what will happen? The yolk and cytoplasm will accumulated in one cell only, another cell will remain without yolk or cytoplasm, will have the nucleus but without less amount of or with the less amount of yolk and cytoplasm, and they are in the equal division in the polar cells. So what happens? The cell which receives the maximum cytoplasm and the yolk after the second meiotic division will appear in the larger size and will able to survive in for the longer duration, and that cell is considered as the egg. Rest of the three cells are there, they are called as polar bodies. So remember, there is a difference here. In case of males, the spermatogenesis leads to form 4 equal haploid cells, that is called as spermatid. So one primary spermatocyte was giving rise the 4 sperm or spermatid, and here one primary oocyte is going to give rise single egg only. So remember what happens. So you just take care of that. I'm just going to discuss, or I'm just going to explain the process of meiotic division, process of oogenesis with the diagram also. Remember, the process of oogenesis runs before or starts in the embryonic life only, during the embryonic period only, and will run till the adult reproductive life also. So what happens? I'm just going to show here. The PGC means primordial germ cells undergoes in the process of mitotic division. produce again and again diploid cell means what? 46, 46, 46, 46. 46 is what? The number of chromosome. So primordial germ cell is having 46 chromosomes, 46, 46. Always whatever the new cells are produced, they will have the 46 number of the chromosome, because all these cells are produced from the mitotic division and they all are having the equal number of chromosomes. So that process from where or in which the mitotic division leads to produce the new diploid cell, that is called as oogonia, is called as multiplication phase, as similar to the spermatogenesis. Second one, the any one of the oogonia is going to enlarge in the size. So what extra is here? Nucleus, cytoplasm was common, but yolk is also going to be synthesized here. So nucleus, yolk and cytoplasmic material will increase here, or enlargement of the cell occurs. Then what happens? This primary spermatocyte will undergo in the process of meiosis division. So first meiosis division, reduction division first. What will happen? Unequal division it is there. So unequal division means what? One of the cell will receive maximum amount of cytoplasm and yolk, and other will receive minimum amount or almost none of the cytoplasm and yolk. So the cell which receives maximum amount will appears in the larger cell, that is haploid in nature. Now the number of chromosome reduced to the half, that is 23. If it is 46, so it will have the 23. And here also the 23 chromosome will be there, but the cell will not have enough amount of the yolk and cytoplasm so that it could survive. So later on it will get degenerate. So here the first cell, which is larger one, is called as secondary oocyte. Are you getting my point? And the smaller one is called as polar body. Now what happened? The next time the next meiosis is there. So in the next meiosis also what happened? The unequal meiotic division occurs there in the secondary oocyte. So once again the larger cell and the smaller cell is there, and here also the polar body will undergo in the process of meiotic division. So one larger cell is there, that is called as ovum or egg. Rest of the three smaller cells which are present along with the egg is called as polar bodies. Remember, the question is asked many times, how many polar bodies are associated with the egg cells. So remember, one egg cell have associated with or is associated with the three polar bodies. So one of the egg cell is being associated with the three polar bodies. So is it clear? I don't think any problem you will have. So once again I'm just going to explain the process. Oogonia during the multiplication phase, the growth phase will enlarge the size, and this is the longest phase. In frog it may last up to 13 days, and in a human till 13 year also the phase is there. Then what is the synthesis there? Cytoplasm, yolk and the nuclear material. Unequal division, larger cell will have more amount of yolk and the cytoplasm, called as secondary oocyte. Smaller one is polar body. And once again unequal division, the larger one is called as egg and a smaller one is called as the polar body. So one egg cell will form by the one primary oocyte, just opposite to the spermatogenesis. In spermatogenesis, one primary spermatocyte gives rise the 4 spermatid, means 4 sperm, and here one egg is associated with 3 polar bodies. Those polar bodies will degenerated later on. Are you getting my point? Is it clear to you all? My dear child, I'm just going to show something here, because I told you the process is very long process which starts during the embryonic development only, and here in that chart only I just tried to make you clear which process occurs at what time period of the life. So here the fetal life means during the embryonic development only. So the development of oogonia occurs inside the embryonic development or during the embryonic development, and one of the oogonia, some oogonia are going to convert in form of the primary oocyte during the embryonic development only. At the time of childbirth, the oogonia is being converted in form of primary oocyte. So whenever the newborn child is there, newborn girl is there, so the girl is already having the primary oocyte there. Are you getting my point? The fetal life will have oogonia and the primary oocyte. So at the time of childbirth, the female child is having oocyte already present in their ovaries. Now during the puberty or during the childhood, the complete preparation and the process of meiotic division begins. the childhood and puberty, the first meiotic division is getting completed, and that is going to form the secondary oocyte. But secondary oocyte is not going to form or not going to convert in form of the egg until and unless the reproductive life is there. So at the time of ovulation, the secondary oocyte is going to release out, that will going to convert in form of the egg even after the fertilization only. So is it clear to you all? So this is what the basic mechanism of the oogenesis. Now we are going to discuss some more points, some more condensed points of the oogenesis. Since oogenesis is highly difficult, highly conceptual process, so we are just trying to understand the process in easy manner. So just take a look on the process. My dear student, just take a look that oogenesis is a discontinuous and wasteful process. Why discontinuous and wasteful process? Just try to understand. Discontinuous, just now we have understood the process was began from the embryonic period only. At the time of childbirth, the oocyte was their primary oocyte. During the complete adulthood, the complete childhood, only that is going to convert in form of the secondary oocyte, and the meiotic division is getting completed, and rest of the period of the oogenesis will complete during the adult reproductive life. So that is what the discontinuous process. The process is not continuous as in the spermatogenesis. Process is completely discontinuous, that is going to cover the entire life of the female. Why it is wasteful? Just try to understand. Approximately 60 lakh zoogonias are produced up to the 5th month of embryonic development. The embryonic development began at that time. Around 60 lakh zoogonias are produced. 60 lakh zoogonias are produced, and out of these 60 lakh zoogonia, only 20 lakhs are being converted in form of primary oocyte. Are you getting my point? Out of 60 lakh zoogonia produced, only 20 lakhs are able to convert in form of the primary oocyte. So till the time of childbirth, at the time of childbirth, the female child is having already loaded ovary with the 20 lakhs primary oocyte. Out of these primary oocyte, only 60 to 80,000 remains present till the puberty. So are you getting my point? So from these 20 lakhs, only 60 to 80,000 oocytes are present till the puberty. Rest of oocytes are also getting degenerated, and out of these 60 to 80,000, only 400 cells are going to convert in form of secondary oocyte during the whole reproductive life of the female. समझ में आ रहा है? 60 लाख उगोनिया बनते हैं इन द एम्ब्रियोनिक डेवलपमेंट, उसमें से 20 लाख कन्वर्ट होते हैं, 40 लाख का वही नुकसान हो गया, 20 लाख कन्वर्ट होते हैं इन फॉर्म ऑफ द प्राइमरी oocyte. अब उसमें से भी जन्म के समय एट द टाइम ऑफ चाइल्ड बर्थ, द फीमेल चाइल्ड वाज हैविंग अराउंड 20 lakhs ऑफ द प्राइमरी oocyte. लेकिन वो भी एडल्टहुड तक आते आते जब रिप्रोडक्टिव लाइफ शुरू होती है तब तक केवल 60 से 80 हजार ही बचते हैं, और इस 60 से 80 हजार से भी केवल 400 एग का ही फॉर्मेशन होता है इनटू द कंप्लीट रिप्रोडक्टिव लाइफ ऑफ द female. Are you getting? 60 lakhs to the 400. That is why the process is called as wasteful process. Are you getting my point? Why the process is called as the wasteful process? Just because of that, the 60 lakhs cells which were produced are going to convert only in form of 400 cells. So this is what that is a kind of waste process. Now we are moving on to the maturation phase. Why maturation phase we are taking separately? Because that maturation phase is actually the phase where we have to develop the follicular development also. How the primary follicle is going to develop? The follicular development is going the parallel to the development of oocyte. The primary oocyte, secondary oocyte will develop, along with that the follicular development will there. The primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle. So the same question we are just doing here. We are just studying the maturation phase along with the development of follicle. So remember, the maturation phase is the longest phase in the human. Already I just told you कितना लंबा है. You can understood कि अगर 44 साल का 40 साल का रिप्रोडक्टिव पीरियड है किसी फीमेल का, तो दैट विल लॉन्ग टिल दैट मच लॉन्गर टाइम फ्रॉम द childbirth or before the childbirth. So that is what the longest phase in the human. it lasts till 12 to 13 year. Why I just told you 12 to 13 year? Because the first time when the menarche occurs in the female, so that is the sign of release of egg. So first oocyte is released at the 12 or 13 year of the age. So लगभग 13 साल का तो एक फेज रहता ही रहता है, and after 13 year of the age, the continuous after continuously in 1 month, the one ovary is going to release one oocyte on the alternate basis. One ovary, suppose the left ovary is release the oocyte in this month, so the right ovary will release the oocyte in the next month. So that will be on the alternative basis, not on the continuous ki both the ovaries are going to release the oocyte on the same time. So in a month only one oocyte is going to release, that is going to convert in form of the egg. So moving on to the next. So here what I just told you earlier, the development of follicle along with the egg is present during the maturation phase. So that is what called as the follicular development. Follicle means what? The primary, secondary, tertiary Graafian follicles are there. That is the supportive structure. They are the protective structure of the oocytes. Because oocyte is very crucial, very important, very precious structure, precious cell for the female reproductive life. So that is why that is being provided an extra protection, extra care by these follicles. So here we are moving on to the development of the Graafian follicle after the maturation phase. The development of Graafian follicle, we are just studying the development of Graafian follicle or the follicular development. The same topic is there. The first of all, we have to understand during the embryonic phase only, a great number of new cells are being formed. Those new cells are called as oogonia. Are you getting my point? The great number of new cells are formed. Those new cells are called as oogonia, and these new cells are going to form a group of cells, and the group of cell of these oogonia is called as egg nest. Are you getting my point? The group of oogonia at the embryonic stage is called as egg nest. So what happens? The oogonia are going to produce in the great number during the embryonic development only, and these oogonias are going to make the group in the separate group. The small groups are there that's going to make. So that group of oogonia is called as egg nest, and any one of the oogonia from this egg nest is going to convert in form of the primary oocyte. Remember, आपने पहले ही पढ़ा हुआ है कि प्राइमरी oocyte पहले ही बन चुका होता है बिफोर द चाइल्ड बर्थ. सो पहली चीज क्या? एग नेस्ट. ऑल द oogonia arranged in some form of the group of the oogonia. That group of oogonia is called as egg nest, and इसी egg nest से any of the oogonia is getting converted in form of the primary oocyte. Just moving on to the next. तो अभी आपने देखा कि any one of the oogonia from the egg nest is going to convert in form of the प्राइमरी oocyte. अब जो बचे हुए oogonia होते हैं उस egg nest के, they are just going to arranged around that oocyte in form of the epithelial layer. Are you getting my point? जो बचे हुए oogonia हैं, the rest oogonia of the egg nest are going to arrange in form of the epithelial layer around the primary oocyte, that is called as follicular epithelium. Are you getting my point? The rest of oogonia forms the follicular epithelium around the primary oocyte. Now the primary oocyte is encircled with the follicular epithelium. Is it clear? अब ये प्राइमरी oocyte के चारों तरफ एक लेयर आ गई, that is called as follicular epithelium. So when the primary oocyte is encircled with the follicular epithelium, that time this is called as primary follicle. The first follicular stage is being received in the embryonic phase only. Are you getting my point? हुआ क्या? एग नेस्ट बना. एग नेस्ट का एक oogonia कन्वर्ट हो जाता है किस फॉर्म में? इन फॉर्म ऑफ the primary oocyte, और बचे हुए oogonia are going to form a covering around that oocyte, that is follicular epithelium. तो जब वो oocyte follicular epithelium से गिर जाता है, and that situation that is called as what? Primary follicle. What is primary follicle? The primary oocyte encircled with the epithelium. Now what happened in the primary follicle? Once again the same process, the growth phase is there. After the childbirth, the growth phase will during the formation of primary oocyte, the growth phase start, means what? The accumulation of the fatty material, yolk material will begin. So here what happened? Accumulation of the cytoplasm and fatty material means what? The yolk material is going to begin. And now what happened? After the collection or during that process only, when the collection of these materials are going on, means cytoplasm, yolk material, fatty materials are going on inside the primary oocyte, At the same time the follicular epithelium will start the repeated division. समझ में आ रहा है? जैसे उधर एक्यूमुलेशन हो रहा है मटेरियल, वैसे ही जो बाहर की लेयर की सेल है जिसको अपन फॉलिकुलर एपिथेलियम कह रहे थे, नाउ दीज सेल्स आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट देयर रैपिड डिवीजन, रिपीटेड डिवीजन. ड्यू टू द रिपीटेड डिवीजन दे आर जस्ट गोइंग टू फॉर्म द सेवरल लेयर्स ऑफ द सेल दे आर ऑन. समझ में आया? पहले सिंगल लेयर था, ड्यू टू द कंटिन्यूअस डिवीजन द सेवरल लेयर ऑफ द सेल्स इज बीइंग फॉर्म्ड अराउंड द प्राइमरी oocyte. That cells are called as the granulosomes, and the layer which is formed because of the granulosa cell is called as theca granulosa, or somewhere it is called as membrana granulosa. तो समझ में आ रहा है क्या हुआ? फॉलिकुलर एपिथेलियम की सेल ने लगातार डिवीजन किया, डिवीजन करने के बाद में कई लेयर बनाई सेल्स की, तो उस समय उस लेयर में मिलने वाली सेल्स को हमने क्या नाम दिया? ग्रेन्युलोसा सेल. एंड द लेयर विच इज बीइंग फॉर्म्ड बाय दिस ग्रेन्युलोसा सेल इज कॉल्ड एज थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा, और वी कैन से द मेम्ब्रेना ग्रेन्युलोसा. थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा और द मेम्ब्रेना ग्रेन्युलोसा. नाउ द नेक्स्ट चेंज. My dear child, listen carefully, because if you are missing the lecture means what? Ki you will not understand, we will not be able to understand anymore the topic. We are dealing a difficult topic here on, so please take care, please be patient here, be here only in the class. इतना समझ में आ गया? फॉलिकुलर एपिथेलियम का डेवलपमेंट, उसके बाद में थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा या मेम्ब्रेना ग्रेन्युलोसा का डेवलपमेंट. अब होता क्या है, एक नई ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन मेम्ब्रेन का फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है इन बिटवीन द थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा एंड प्राइमरी oocyte. समझ में आ गया? थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा के नीचे और प्राइमरी oocyte के ऊपर एक नई मेम्ब्रेन का फॉर्मेशन होता है, दैट इज मेड ऑफ द ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन. समझ में आ रहा है? इन बिटवीन द थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा एंड द प्राइमरी oocyte, जस्ट अबव द प्राइमरी oocyte एंड बिलो द थीका ग्रेन्युलोसा, अ न्यू ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन मेम्ब्रेन इज फॉर्म. दैट ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन मेम्ब्रेन इज कॉल्ड एज जोना पेलिसिडा. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रक्चर, ये हमेशा मिलेगी और ये oocyte खुद ही बनाता है. ये जोना पेलिसिडा, रिमेंबर द जोना पेलिसिडा लेयर इज बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय oocyte इटसेल्फ. ये खुद ही बनाता है अपने चारों तरफ. एंड दैट oocyte, दैट जोना पेलिसिडा विल रिमेन फर्दर टिल द लास्ट ऑफ द इम्प्लांटेशन प्रोसेस. इम्प्लांटेशन के टाइम तक ही रहता है, उसके बाद ये भी खत्म हो जाता है. Now moving on to the next. So theca follicle is clear, theca granulosa, primary follicle is clear, follicular epithelium is clear, theca granulosa is clear, zona pellucida is present between the theca granulosa and the primary oocyte. Now next one is there, the corona radiata. One more layer is being formed there. Many of the layers are being formed because the egg is well protected structure. The support is required so that it should not get implanted, it should not be affected with any of the external disastrous elements, so that it could be fertilized at the time whenever it is required. So corona radiata क्या बनता है और लेयर का फॉर्मेशन होता है? जोना पेलिसिडा. जस्ट नाउ वी हैव सीन द oocyte is going to release a kind of glycoprotein membrane around itself that lies in between the theca granulosa and the primary oocyte. तो अब क्या होता है, जोना पेलिसिडा और थीका ग्रेनुलोसा के अंदर की लेयर, द इनर लेयर ऑफ द थीका ग्रेनुलोसा एंड जोना पेलिसिडा कंबाइंडली कॉल्ड एज कोरोना रेडिएटा. थीका ग्रेनुलोसा बाहर था, उसके अंदर आया था आपका जोना पेलिसिडा. तो इनर लेयर ऑफ द थीका ग्रेनुलोसा एंड द जोना पेलिसिडा कंबाइंडली कॉल्ड एज कोरोना रेडिएटा. जोना पेलिसिडा plus inner layer of the theca granulosa is combinedly called as the zona pellucida. Now the theca granulosa along with the surrounding basement membrane, अब जो theca granulosa उसके चारों तरफ, बिकॉज epithelium सेल से बना हुआ है तो उसके चारों तरफ मिलने वाली बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन एक साथ मिलकर एक नई लेयर का फॉर्मेशन करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज थीका फॉलिकुली. आपको टर्म्स याद रखने होंगे हमेशा. जोना पेलिसिडा क्या है? ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन मेम्ब्रेन है जो oocyte ने बनाया था. कोरोना रेडिएटा क्या है? जोना पेलिसिडा और थीका ग्रेनुलोसा की अंदर वाली लेयर, इनर लेयर. अब क्या होता है कि थीका फॉलिकुली का फॉर्मेशन होता है. और थीका फॉलिकुली कैसे बनता है? थीका ग्रेनुलोसा और उसकी बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन से. समझ में आ रहा है हाउ द थीका फॉलिकुल इज बीइंग फॉर्म? द थीका फॉलिकुल इज बीइंग फॉर्म्ड बाय द बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन ऑफ द थीका ग्रेनुलोसा एंड द थीका ग्रेनुलोसा. ये दोनों मिलके बनाते हैं थीका फॉलिकुली. और थीका फॉलिकुली में दो लेयर दिखाई देती हैं. द थीका फॉलिकुली इज ऑफ टू लेयर्ड स्ट्रक्चर, विल सी द लेटर ऑन. One layer is called as theca interna, one layer is called as theca externa. Theca interna and theca externa. The inner layer is called as the theca interna and external layer is called as the theca externa. Remember my dear child, आप नीट देने जाएंगे, AIPMT देने जाएंगे, theca interna is very important question there on, because theca interna is secretory in nature and this is the structure by which or for which the ovary is considered as secretory in nature. आपको याद होगा the primary gonads are the gonads which are having capacity to produce the gametes as well as can produce the hormones also. So due to the presence of theca interna, the ovary is also able to release its hormone that is called as estrogen. Estrogen is female reproductive hormone or female sex hormone. समझ में आ रहा है? There in case of testes the separate Leydig cells were there, but here in case of ovary there is no separate cell. Instead of that, any one of the cell, one layer of the follicular epithelium, one layer of the follicular cell that is called as theca interna appears in form of the secretory nature and going to release out the estrogen. So that is secretory in nature, and remember that secretory nature will help out in production of the cavity also there inside the follicle. So moving on to the next, so next layer is theca externa. So now my dear child, अब इस समय अगर आप देख पा रहे हैं तो इस समय क्या क्या आ गया इसमें, फॉलिकल के चारों तरफ द प्राइमरी फॉलिकल तो पहले सा था, तो उस प्राइमरी फॉलिकल के चारों तरफ क्या आ गया, थीका एक्सटर्ना, जोना पेलिसिडा. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? Now the primary follicle, earlier the primary follicle was there. Primary follicle का मतलब when it was the primary oocyte was encircled with the surrounded with the follicular epithelium, that time it is primary follicle. बाकी डेवलपमेंट किस में हो रहा था, प्राइमरी फॉलिकल में, तो उसमें जोना पेलिसिडा का डेवलपमेंट हुआ और उसके बाद में आपका डेवलपमेंट हुआ थीका एक्सटर्ना या थीका फॉलिकुली का. तो जब फॉलिकल के चारों तरफ क्या क्या आ गया, थीका एक्सटर्ना और जोना पेलिसिडा, तो उस समय उसको कहा गया सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल. व्हेन द फॉलिकल इज कवर्ड विद द theca externa and zona pellucida, that time it is called as secondary follicle. Now we have received the second follicle. First one was primary follicle. What is identification? Identification is the primary follicle when primary oocyte is encircled with the follicular epithelium. What is secondary follicle? When the follicle is encircled or covered externally with the theca externa and the zona pellucida. दोनों लेयर होने चाहिए, theca externa और zona pellucida. Then it is called as what? The सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट. अभी आपको बताया मैंने कि एक सेल थी दैट इज थीका इंटरना, दैट इज secretory in nature, and the secretory in nature means that is going to release out some of the fluid thereon, and due to the releasing of that fluid, a fluid filled cavity is going to appear inside the follicle cell. Are you getting my point? अभी तक solid space था, solid structure था follicle का, that is secondary follicle. The secondary follicle and primary follicle were the solid structure, but due to the presence of theca interna, the nature of theca interna is secretory, so theca interna is going to release out the continuous fluid thereon, और उस फ्लूइड के रिलीज होने के कारण ग्रेन्युलोसा सेल के ऊपर प्रेशर आएगा और उनके बीच में कैविटी का फॉर्मेशन हो जाएगा. दैट कैविटी इज कॉल्ड एज एंट्रम. So what happens, due to the fluid released by the theca interna, the cavity appears in between the granulosa cell is called as antrum. समझ में आया? इस कैविटी का फॉर्मेशन किसने किया, थीका इंटरना से रिलीज होने वाले फ्लूइड ने. द कैविटी इज कॉल्ड एज एंट्रम. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन इज देयर. आई एम हाईलाइटिंग दिस पॉइंट्स मींस व्हाट, द क्वेश्चंस आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो एंट्रम का फॉर्मेशन हो गया और इस एंट्रम के अंदर एक लिक्विड भरा होता है. दैट लिक्विड इज आल्सो रिलीज बाय द थीका interna because only interna is the secretory in nature. That liquid is called as liquor folliculi. The liquid is called as liquor folliculi. So समझ में आ गया? अब थीका इंटरना अभी तो सॉलिड था फॉलिकल, प्राइमरी फॉलिकल सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल दोनों सॉलिड थे. अब उसी समय क्या हुआ, थीका इंटरना का फॉर्मेशन हुआ. ड्यू टू द थीका इंटरना सेक्रेटरी नेचर, इट रिलीजेस आउट अ फ्लूइड. ड्यू टू द फ्लूइड प्रेशर एक्सर्टेड ऑन द ग्रेनुलोसा सेल और बीच में कैविटी का फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है. दैट कैविटी इज कॉल्ड एज एंट्रम. द कैविटी इज फिल्ड विद द liquid that is called as liquor follicle, and liquor folliculi is also released by the theca interna. That cavity is called as antrum. और जैसे ही antrum appear हो जाता है inside the secondary follicle, now the follicle is called as tertiary follicle. Primary follicle, the primary oocyte circled with the follicular epithelium. Secondary follicle theca externa and the zona pellucida के साथ में आया, solid थे दोनों. Whenever the antrum cavity appears in between the granulosa cell and the oocyte, then the follicle is called as the tertiary follicle. So now the follicle with the antrum cavity is called as the tertiary follicle. So is it clear to you all? नाउ व्हाट हैपन, लगातार फ्लूइड का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है, लगातार लिक्वर फॉलिकुली का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है. ड्यू टू द लिक्वर फॉलिकुली और कंटिन्यूस फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द लिक्वर फॉलिकुली, द ग्रेनुलोसा सेल एक तरफ दबती चली जाती है और पतली होती जाएंगे. ड्यू टू द कंटिन्यूस increase in the fluid will exert the pressure on the granulosa cell, तो granulosa cell will get thinner and thinner and will get thinner and will get arranged toward a peripheral region only. और उसी चक्कर में होता है क्या है कि the oocyte is being pushed toward the periphery. Now oocyte is getting arranged on eccentric position. समझ में आ रहा है? Due to the increase in the fluid, the theca granulosa become thin and the oocyte is pushed peripherally. oocyte की तैयारी होने लगती कि the oocyte should have to be released easily outside at the time of ovulation. So due to the increased fluid, theca granulosa become very thin and oocyte pushed toward the peripheral region. Now in each month, अब तैयारी हो चुकी है meiotic division complete होने की. In each month one of the tertiary follicle undergoes the meiosis first. In each month, यहाँ पे tertiary follicle बन गया था, जिस tertiary follicle में एक primary oocyte था. That primary oocyte is surrounded with the membrana granulosa, zona pellucida and theca externa and interna. अब ये पूरी तरीके से तैयार है to undergo in the process of meiotic division. अब ये कब होता है? जस्ट बिगनिंग ऑफ द मिनार्जी, जब रिप्रोडक्टिव लाइफ शुरू होती है. तो इन ईच मंथ of the menstrual cycle, in each month of the reproductive life of the female, any one of the tertiary follicle will undergo in the meiosis first. जैसे ही वो पहला मंथ आता है तो वह हर महीने में ओवरी में मियोटिक डिवीजन कंप्लीट होता है, फर्स्ट डिवीजन कंप्लीट होता है. और आपको याद होगा फर्स्ट डिवीजन कंप्लीट होता है तो वहाँ पे अनइक्वल डिवीजन होता है. वन सेल विल लार्जर एंड वन सेल विल स्मॉलर. लार्जर विल हैव मोर अमाउंट ऑफ साइटोप्लाज्म एंड yolk, that is called as secondary oocyte, and the smaller one is called as first polar body. We are not discussing much about the polar body because that will get degenerated later on, so that is not of our important. The important cell is secondary oocyte. So now what happens? The secondary oocyte is produced here inside the follicle. So tertiary follicle is now having the secondary oocyte present inside. At the same time, the secondary oocyte undergoes in the process of second meiotic division, but the second meiotic division is getting arrested at metaphase state. Why this is so, we'll understand it later. But here remember, second meiotic division complete नहीं हो पाता और वो follicle secondary oocyte the egg is not being converted in form of egg stage, only it is remaining till the secondary oocyte. So ovulation का time आ जाता है. तो this time what we are observing, now the follicle is having a well-developed secondary oocyte. The development arrested or the division arrested at the metaphase second. At this stage, the tertiary follicle is called as mature tertiary follicle, or the Graafian follicle means what? When the tertiary follicle, first time the tertiary follicle means what? When the antrum cavity and the primary oocyte was there. Now the tertiary follicle has undergone in the process of meiotic division second, meiotic division, completed the meiotic division first and moved on to the meiotic division second, where the division is arrested at the metaphase state second. So at this time this is called as mature tertiary follicle or the Graafian follicle. मतलब क्या होगा? जिस समय उसमें secondary oocyte हो जिसका development या division रुका हो metaphase second state पे, and will surrounded or has surrounded with the theca externa, interna, membrana granulosa or theca granulosa with the antrum cavity and the zona pellucida. So this is what the mature follicle or mature tertiary follicle or the Graafian follicle. यहाँ पे the oocyte is ready to be pushed outside or ready to release outside. तो release होने के लिए, उसको release करने के लिए थोड़े से arrangement होते हैं. What is the arrangement? The arrangement is called as cumulus euphoricus. What is the arrangement? The cumulus euphoricus. What is the cumulus euphoricus? The peripheral layers of the theca granulosa around the secondary oocyte. What is cumulus euphoricus? Cumulus euphoricus means what? The theca granulosa cells are going to arranged around the oocyte. oocyte के चारों तरफ, सेकेंडरी oocyte के चारों तरफ, सेकेंडरी oocyte के चारों तरफ थीका ग्रेनुलोसा या मेम्ब्रेना ग्रेनुलोसा की सेल्स इकट्ठी होने लगती हैं और वो क्या बनाती है? क्यूमुलस यूफोरिकस का एक बल्जिंग बनाती है, पूरा प्रेशर जनरेट करती है. दे आर एक्सर्टिंग अ प्रेशर ऑन द सेकेंडरी oocyte सो दैट कि ड्यू टू दैट प्रेशर द सेकेंडरी oocyte could easily blast or burst out the membranes of the follicle, Graafian follicle, and can release out from the ovary. So that time peripheral layer. So what is the meaning of cumulus euphoricus? Cumulus euphoricus का मतलब the granulosa cells which arranged around the secondary oocyte are called as cumulus euphoricus. उसी के just opposite direction में, just opposite to the cumulus euphoricus, जस्ट अपोजिट टू द क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस, मतलब फॉलिकुलर वॉल के ठीक पास में, फॉलिकुलर वॉल के ठीक पास में ग्रेनुलोसा सेल अरेंज करके क्या बनाती हैं, डिस्कस प्रोलिजिरस या जर्मेल. द ग्रेनुलोसा सेल अटैच टू द वॉल ऑफ फॉलिकल एंड जस्ट अपोजिट साइड ऑफ द क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस आर कॉल्ड एज जर्म हिल. एक इनलार्ज प्रोजेक्शन बोलता है जर्म हिल या क्यूमुलस जर्म हिल आर डिस्कस प्रोलिजिरस. सो इज इट क्लियर? क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस थीका ग्रेनुलोसा पूरी तरीके से कवर कर लेता सेकेंडरी साइड को, और वो क्या कहलाता है, क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस. और उसके जस्ट अपोजिट साइड में डिस्कस प्रोलिजिरस भी बनाया जाता है थ्रू द ग्रेनुलोसा सेल ओनली. इज इट क्लियर टू यू ऑल? नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट. In the very next step, what happened? This cumulus uphoricus are going to blast to rupture out the Graafian follicle to release out the secondary oocyte in the abdominal cavity on the 14th day of the menstrual cycle under the influence of LH, luteinizing hormone, is called as ovulation. Means what? During the ovulation, my dear child, remember you need to change your definition. Ovulation is not the process to release out the egg. Ovulation is the process to release out the secondary oocyte from the Graafian follicle. What is ovulation? Releasing out of the secondary oocyte from the Graafian follicle is called as ovulation, not the release of egg from the ovary. What is releasing out of the secondary oocyte from ovary? We can say our Graafian follicle, we can say is called as ovulation. The process is completed are going to take place on the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, and the process is influenced by the luteinizing hormone. So this is what the ovulation is there. Now the secondary oocyte is being ready to receive their inside the fallopian tube by the fimbriated funnel and will move further for the process of fertilization and will complete its other development. Now moving on to the structure, I am just going to show the two structure. I am not going to show the first structure, the primary, secondary and tertiary follicle. Primary follicle was just very simpler one. अगर अपन इसी डायग्राम को समझना चाहते हैं, so just take a look. This one or this diagram, this structure is the oocyte, primary oocyte, and around the primary oocyte the cell is there, and this layer is first of all egg nest is there. So any one of the egg nest, any one of the oogonia from egg nest is going to convert in form of the oocyte. So this is oocyte, और उसके चारों तरफ क्या होता है, follicular epithelium का formation हो जाता है. तो that layer is called as follicular epithelium around that. So this is oocyte, this is follicular epithelium. तो अगर केवल इतना स्ट्रक्चर देखेंगे, we are just going to see this structure only, so that is what the primary follicle. Then what happens, the in between the theca granulosa, in between the follicular epithelium and oocyte, primary oocyte, what happen, one new layer is formed that is called as zona pellucida. ये समझ में आ रहा है? पहले ही आपको बताया हुआ है कि एक लेयर बन जाती है in between the theca granule, in between the follicular epithelium and the oocyte. That layer is being released by the oocyte itself, that is called as follicular epithelium. ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट वन इज देयर. उसी के बाहर की तरफ हमने देखा था कि ग्रेनुलोसा सेल का लगातार डिवीजन होता है. ये फॉलिकुलर सेल कंटिन्यूस डिवाइड होकर नई सेल्स का फॉर्मेशन करती हैं, और इन नई सेल्स को अपन क्या कहते हैं, ग्रेनुलोसा सेल. और उस ग्रेनुलोसा सेल के डिवीजन के कारण मल्टी लेयर्ड स्ट्रक्चर का फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है, और नई लेयर को अपन क्या कहते हैं, थीका ग्रेनुलोसा. तो जोना पेलिसिडा के बाहर की तरफ अब क्या आ जाएगा, थीका ग्रेनुलोसा. तो थीका ग्रेनुलोसा की सेल्स बन जाएंगी मल्टीपल लेयर्ड में, कई सारे लेयर्स में अरेंज हो जाएंगी. इतना समझ में आ रहा है अपने को? पहले क्या हुआ, जोना पेलिसिडा, सबसे पहले फॉलिकुलर एपिथेलियम बना, फिर जोना पेलिसिडा का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, और बाहर ग्रेनुलोसा सेल्स का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, मल्टीपल लेयर्ड बना, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज थीका ग्रेनुलोसा. अब इसी थीका ग्रेनुलोसा में हमने देखा था कि जो बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन है यहाँ पे, ये बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन और इनर लेयर ऑफ द थीका ग्रेनुलोसा इज गोइंग टू फॉर्म कंबाइनली द थीका फॉलिकुली. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? ये थीका ग्रेनुलोसा की इनर लेयर एंड द बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन इज गोइंग टू फॉर्म द थीका फॉलिकुली. अब थीका फॉलिकुली में आप आसानी से देख सकते हैं, द आउटर लेयर इज कॉल्ड एज थीका एक्सटर्ना एंड द इनर वन इज कॉल्ड एज थीका इंटरना. सो दिस इज व्हाट गोइंग टू फॉर्म द सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल, जहाँ ये पूरी तरीके से सॉलिड स्ट्रक्चर है, देयर इज नो कैविटी प्रेजेंट इन. तो इसमें क्या क्या हो रहा है, आपका थीका एक्सटर्ना भी है, जोना पेलिसिडा भी है और oocyte भी है. तो ये सारी चीज़ें मिलकर क्या बनाएंगे, सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द टर्सरी फॉलिकल. जब हम इस स्ट्रक्चर को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं तो हमने देखा था कि ड्यू टू द थीका इंटरना व्हाट हैपेंस, द सीक्रेटरी नेचर ऑफ द थीका इंटरना इज गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस अ कैविटी बाय सप्रेसिंग द ग्रेन्युलोसा सेल। तो ग्रेन्युलोसा सेल के बीच में कैविटी प्रेजेंट हो जाती है, कैविटी डेवलप होती है विच इज बीइंग फिल्ड विद द लिक्वर फॉलिक्यूली। इस कैविटी को हम क्या कहते हैं, एंट्रम, और एंट्रम का प्रेजेंस होना, एंट्रम का अपीयरेंस होना ही उसको बनाता है टर्सरी फॉलिकल। अब टर्सरी फॉलिकल किस तरीके से मैच्योर ग्राफियन फॉलिकल में कन्वर्ट होता है वो भी हमने देखा है। जब इसमें फर्स्ट मियोटिक डिवीजन कंप्लीट हो जाता है, सेकेंड मियोटिक डिवीजन चलता रहता है और वो भी मेटाफेज में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा, मेटाफेज स्टेट में जाके रुक जाता है। तो उस समय अब ये कैसा कहलाता है, उसाइट, सेकेंडरी उसाइट कहलाएगा। सो दिस उसाइट इज सेकेंडरी उसाइट, इज सराउंडेड बाय द जोना पैलिसिडा। बाहर की तरफ एक लेयर है वो क्या कहलाएगी आपकी, थीका ग्रेनुलोसा या मेम्ब्रेना ग्रेनुलोसा। ये आपका थीका इंटरना, दिस इज व्हाट द थीका एक्सटर्ना। ये एक मैच्योर ग्राफियन फॉलिकल की स्ट्रक्चर है। हाँ, एक हमने देखा था क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस और जर्म हिल। तो हमने देखा था उस साइड के चारों तरफ द ग्रेनुलोसा सेल्स आर गोइंग टू अरेंज एंड फॉर्म बल्जिंग स्ट्रक्चर दैट इज कॉल्ड एज क्यूमुलस उफोरिकस, और ये इंपॉर्टेंट होता है इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ ovulation. And just opposite to the cumulus uforicus, granulosa cells are going to arrange toward the wall of follicle and form the germ hill or discus proligerus. So this is what the structure of a mature graphian follicle. अब आगे हमको ये समझना है, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट विल हैपन आफ्टर द रिलीज ऑफ एग टू द ग्राफियन फॉलिकल। क्या हुआ ग्राफियन फॉलिकल का जब एग रिलीज हो गया, तो egg is what will happen to the Graafian follicle after release of the secondary oocyte. So after releasing of the secondary oocyte, the Graafian follicle is going to change in form of very important structure, the corpus luteum. My dear student, if you are appearing in examination, so remember corpus luteum is extremely important question. So corpus luteum का formation किससे होता है, rupturing Graafian follicle से. What happens, the Graafian follicle is ruptured during the release of secondary oocytes. So just after the ovulation, the ruptured Graafian follicle gets filled with the blood and blood vessels. Are you getting my point? Just after the ovulation, the ruptured Graafian follicle is getting filled with the blood and blood vessels or blood cells. Remember, once again I am repeating again and again, just after the ovulation, the ruptured Graafian follicle is getting filled up with the blood cells, and now this follicle is called as corpus hemorrhagicum. Are you getting my point? The Graafian follicle just after ovulation, after release of the secondary oocyte, is getting close with the filled up the blood cells, and now because this is filled with the blood cell, this is called as corpus hemorrhagicum. What is corpus hemorrhagicum? The next stage of the Graafian follicle after release of the secondary oocyte, और यही corpus hemorrhagicum is the first step of the formation of the corpus luteum. ठीक है, one very important point you must remember, before the ovulation the Graafian follicle is avascular in nature. Are you getting my point? Remember, this is very important point I am saying. Before the ovulation, the Graafian follicle is avascular in nature. Just after the ovulation, it is going, the growth of the blood vessels gets rapidly, a rapid increase in the blood vessels is there, and they are just going to accumulate the blood inside the Graafian follicle. So corpus hemorrhagicum is formed. Very next to the corpus hemorrhagicum, whatever the granulosa cells were present inside the Graafian follicle, they are now going to proliferate and going to convert in form of the luteal cell. Are you getting my point? The granulosa cell पहले से ही पहली थी वहाँ पे, तो granulosa cell once again going to proliferate and going to form a specific kind of cell. The cells are called as the luteal cells. समझ में आ रहा है? Now the granulosa cells inside the corpus hemorrhagicum will start dividing itself, will start the proliferating themselves and convert in form of the luteal cell. What is the difference of the luteal cell and the granulosa cell? The luteal cell and the granulosa cell is different in their pigment. The luteal cell is having the accumulation of a yellow colored pigment that is called as lutein. So due to the presence of lutein, now the granulosa cells are called as luteal cells. Are you getting my point? The granulosa cell undergoes in the proliferation and forms the luteal cells or convert in form of luteal cell. Why they are called as luteal cell? How they are different from the granulosa cell? Because of the accumulation of the yellow colored pigment, pigment that is called as lutein. Now when the follicle or Graafian follicle is filled with the yellow colored pigment and the luteal cell, that time the follicle is called as corpus luteum. Are you getting my point? Now this structure filled with the lutein, and the luteal cell is called as corpus luteum. Remember my dear student, corpus luteum is extremely important question. Corpus luteum is important because it is going to release the progesterone continuously, and progesterone is needed for maintenance of the pregnancy as it is required for the thickness or hypertrophy of the endometrium of the uterus. So continuous throughout the pregnancy life, the corpus luteum is maintained and going to release out the progesterone, and it is going to release the estrogen too. So is it clear to you all what is the corpus luteum? The Graafian follicle filled with the yellow colored pigment lutein and the luteal cells is called as corpus luteum. Importance of corpus luteum is to produce the progesterone thereon. So moving on to the next point, what will happen to the corpus luteum if fertilization occurs or fertilization does not occur? So if fertilization occur, then the corpus luteum will be stable for the complete gestation period. That's just now I just told you. अगर fertilization होता है, the corpus luteum will get stable for the complete gestation period with the help of an hormone that is called as HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, that is released by the corpus luteum itself. क्या होता है अपने आप को मेंटेन करने के लिए दिस इज गोइंग टू रिलीज एन हार्मोन दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एचसीजी, ह्यूमन कोरियोनिक गोनेडोट्रोफिन, एंड ड्यू टू द हेल्प ऑफ दिस और बाय द हेल्प ऑफ दिस इज गोइंग टू मेंटेन इटसेल्फ थ्रू आउट द प्रेगनेंसी पीरियड, थ्रू आउट द 40-week gestation period, and release continuously the progesterone hormone so that ki the endometrial lining should always get thicker and thicker so that ki they could hold the newborn fetus or the embryo of the human very well thereon. Moving on to the next, what will happen if the fertilization gets failed? So if fertilization gets failed, so what happens? The corpus luteum is getting degenerated in form of a scar that is called as corpus albicans. Very important question. Agar fertilization hoga so corpus luteum will maintain itself, but if fertilization gets failed, so it will get convert in form of a scar that is called as corpus albicans. And when it is being appeared, if the fertilization gets failed after the 9th day of ovulation, so after the 9th day of ovulation means if the ovulation occurs on the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, so the corpus albicans will appear on the 23rd day of the menstrual cycle. Is it clear? One more term that we have discussed already, that is follicular atresia. Many of the follicles we have seen 60, 80 lakh, 60 lakh, 60,000, 400, so many of the follicles are getting degenerated. So degeneration of the follicle is called as follicular atresia, and those degenerated follicles are called as the atretic follicle. Degeneration of the follicles are called as follicular atresia, and those degenerated follicles are called as the atretic follicle. Is it clear? So follicular atresia, degeneration of the follicles, and the follicles which are getting degenerated are called as the atretic follicles, and these atretic follicles are going to be absorbed and degenerate there inside the medullary region of the ovary that we have already discussed during the structure of the ovary only. So moving on to the next. Now egg is ready. So what is the structure of egg? A large size nucleus is present inside the egg that is called as the germinal vesicle. The cytoplasm of the egg is called as ooplasm. The cell membrane or the plasma membrane of the egg is called as oolemma. Now one important point you must take care. What is egg? The ovum which is released after the which is being formed after the fertilization gets complete, because the ovulation is releasing of the secondary oocyte only. The secondary oocyte will convert in form of ovum only after the fertilization process, because we'll discuss the process in detail later in the next lecture only. We are just going to take that one only. So egg is what? The ovum which is get surrounded with the egg membrane. One important question asked every time, that is polarity of the egg, because the egg is polar in nature. Somewhere the yolk is present, in some region the yolk is not present. So the region where yolk is present is called as vegetal pole, and where there is no yolk present, that is called as the animal pole. So polarity means what? The egg is having two poles, animal pole without yolk and vegetal pole with yolk. Now very important question, we are discussing the egg membrane. The egg membranes are of the three types. First one is called as primary membrane. The primary membrane what? Which is secreted by oocyte itself. Two examples are there, vitelline membrane and zona pellucida. In the mammal, zona pellucida is there, but you must should not get confused with the vitelline membrane if same question is there. So you must have the idea of that. So primary membrane means what? Which is being released by the oocyte itself. Secondary membrane, it is formed outside of the primary membrane and it is being released by ovary only. Are you getting my point? First one is released by oocyte, second one is formed by the ovary. So that is being laid over the surface of the primary membrane, that is corona radiata and the chorion. Tertiary membrane secreted by uterus and oviduct. Means what? Different structures are there. Primary means when the oocyte is itself secreting, secondary means when the ovary is secreting, tertiary means when the uterus or oviduct is going to secrete some of the membrane for the additional protection, like the jelly coat in the cell or cell membrane. The function of egg membrane, if we are just going to discuss, the protection of egg from the external environment, harsh environment, the internal structure or internal content of the egg should get protected. It checks the polyspermy. It is going to check the polyspermy means what? It is going to prevent the entry of more than one sperm inside the egg for the purpose of fertilization. One important function is also there, that is going to provide the buoyancy of the amphibian egg, because they are the aquatic in nature and they need to float over the surface of water for the purpose of fertilization. Some small facts are there. The smallest egg, Polychaeta. The largest egg, you know very well, the ostrich egg is considered as the largest cell also. So ostrich egg is the largest egg. Human egg is going to measure around 0.1 mm. We can say that all the mammals are having approximately this one. The mammals are having two types of the membrane around them. Zona pellucida as the primary membrane, corona radiata as the secondary membrane. So zona pellucida or vitelline membrane, whatever is there in the option, you must go through that. Moving on to the next, classification of the egg. So classification of egg based on the amount of yolk. First of all is called as alacethyl. There is no yolk present. A means absent, lacethyl yolk. So when no yolk is present, so that is example are the humans. Almost remember, the humans are having the alacethyl egg, but practically is not possible that any of the yolk should not have any amount of the yolk. A trace amount of yolk might be present thereon, but in the references in the literature, it is written that the yolk is not present in the human egg, so that we are just also going with that. Microlacethyl or oligolacethyl, when almost minimum amount of the yolk is present, alacethyl absent, minimum amount of yolk is present, then it is called as oligolacethyl. Example, remember always this is very important portion for the NEET examination. You have to go with the example and the types of eggs. Microlacethyl or oligolacethyl, very less amount of the yolk is present. Example are Amphioxus, very important. Metatheria, Eutheria, many of the times sea urchin has been asked. Microlacethyl or oligolacethyl, sea urchin was the question asked many of the time in the NEET, in the PMT examination when the PMT was going on. Mesolacethyl, moderate amount of the yolk is present, neither more nor less. Example, amphibians, petromyzons and the lungfishes. Next one is macrolacethyl or polylacethyl or the megalacethyl. Definitely alacethyl very less, alacethyl absent, microlacethyl very less, mesolacethyl moderately, macrolacethyl a great amount of yolk is present inside the egg, or huge amount of yolk is present. So examples are there: insects, birds, reptiles and prototherians. So the example of megalacethyl egg is insect, birds, reptiles and prototherians. Now based on the distribution pattern of the yolk, first one is isolacethyl or homolacethyl. When yolk is equally distributed in the egg side, inside the egg, when yolk is equally distributed inside the egg, that time it is called as isolacethyl or homolacethyl. Example is microlacethyl and alacethyl, आपने पहले ही देखा हुआ है. Humans, Amphioxus, Metatheria, Eutheria and sea urchin. Telolacethyl, when polarity is there, the yolk is considered, yolk is confined to a particular region, that is called as vegetal pole, and the animal pole will not have any kind of the yolk thereon. So that is the example of mesolacethyl. Discoidal एक अलग टाइप का पैटर्न है, that is the type of telolacethyl only. यहाँ पे योग क्या होता है, एक साइटोप्लाज्म का एक छोटा सा पोर्शन होता है, that is called as germinal disc. The cytoplasm is having a small portion, that is called as germinal disc, और योग पूरा उसके चारों तरफ मिलता है. योग is concentrated in all the part except that germinal disc, that is what this is called as discoidal. Are you getting my point? साइटोप्लाज्म इज कन्फाइंड टू अ स्मॉल रीजन दैट इज कॉल्ड एज जर्मिनल डिस्क, और उसके चारों तरफ योग मिलता है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डिस्कॉइडल, और ये भी मेगालेसिथल में ही मिलेगा। सेंट्रोलेसिथल व्हेन योग इज प्रेजेंट इन द सेंटर मोस्ट रीजन, और साइटोप्लाज्म उसके बाहर की तरफ आ जाए तो इंसेक्ट की प्रॉपर्टी, इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है, पूछा गया क्वेश्चन है सेंट्रोलेसिथल। ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ एग सेल, two types of egg, cladoic and non-cladoic. Cladoic egg means to say when the egg is going to surrounded by or protected externally by a cell of calcium carbonate. When this is present around the egg, that is called as cladoic egg. This is found or present in the terrestrial animals only. The cell, why the cell is required, the cell is going to prevent the desiccation of egg, and this is going to protect them from the external harsh environment, as the development of these animals are going to taking place outside of the body only. So they are just going to be protected from outside environment, desiccation and other harm of the environment. They are heavily yolked egg. अपने आप जानते हैं बर्ड्स के एग अगर बाहर दे रहे हैं तो दे आर हैविंग हैवीली योग्ड, मींस व्हाट, दिस इज फाउंड देयर इन द रेप्टाइल्स, बर्ड्स and terrestrial insect. And reptiles are having somewhat modification from the cladoic egg. They are not having the cell of calcium carbonate, instead they are having the leathery cell. So that is, reptiles are only having the egg that is leathery egg. So remember always, non-cladoic egg just opposite to the cladoic egg. Non-cladoic means non-celled, no cell of calcium carbonate is present. So such kind of the egg will present there in the viviparous and aquatic animals. Viviparous means when there is no need of discharging the egg outside of the body, the complete development of the young one is going to be taking place inside the body, that time they are called as viviparous. So koi khatra hi nahi hai, there is no protection demanded, so that's why they are having non-celled. And most of the time the aquatic animal, because they are requiring the buoyancy, so that time. So this is all about the oogenesis, structure of egg, carpus luteum, and the types of egg. Everything we have completed today in the chapter, today in the topic. What we have completed, the process of oogenesis, the development of the follicle, means what, the Graafian follicle, everything, primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle, the process of ovulation, that is the process of ovulation means what, today we learned the process of ovulation means what, releasing out of secondary oocyte, not the egg. Secondary oocyte is called as ovulation. After ovulation, carpus hemorrhagicum form. The carpus hemorrhagicum is going to convert in form of carpus luteum, and if carpus luteum is if fertilization is not getting completed, then the carpus luteum getting converted in form of carpus albicans in form of the scar that is being shifted to the medullary region of the ovary. Then we have seen the structure of the egg, germinal vesicle, oolemma, ooplasm, everything. Then membrane, primary membrane, secondary membrane, tertiary membrane. Primary membrane secreted by the oocyte itself, secondary membrane by the ovary, and tertiary membrane is being secreted by the other structure like uterus and the oviduct for the additional protection. Are you getting my point? So this is what we have discussed here on. And in the mammalian egg, two layers are there, zona pellucida and the corona radiata. This is what we have discussed today. And the types of eggs like aleacetal, microleacetal, mesolacetal, megaleacetal, macroleacetal, isoleacetal, teloleacetal, distoleacetal, like that, all the things we have discussed today. In the further lecture, we'll see other reproductive physiology. So basic physiology we have completed today, that is what, the gametogenesis. In the previous lecture I have just completed the spermatogenesis, and today's lecture what I have completed the oogenesis and the structure of egg. So till the time of the next lecture, till the time of next lecture, be ready for the next lecture, next content. And if you likes the video, please press the like button.